Okay, I think this will be the last video that I make about these, I think. All right, so this is the full HP lineup, the high performance Sherwood HP lineup. On the left is the HP 5500 tuner, analog tuner, and the HP 1000 amplifier. I'll just go over to this one. And this is 60 watts per channel, and it really kicks. I mean, it does. It sounds a lot more than 60 watts when you really listen to it. But when you measure it, it's just a little over 60. But it sounds great, and believe it or not, it'll drive a 4 ohm load pretty well. It does these. Actually, both of these things will drive a 4 ohm load very well. Uh, Even though it's not listed or written up as an 8 ohm amplifier, they write it as 8 ohm. It will do a 4 ohm load pretty well. So just to let you know that. And this over here is the top of the line of the HP series. And this is your CPU 100 made by Draco Labs for Sherwood at the time. And this is the HP 2000, which has 120 watts per channel. And again, it's monster power this thing has. I love these things, as you could tell. I mean, I'm kind of obsessed with them a little bit. The quality is just ridiculous, and I'm surprised that more people haven't recognized that at this point. But in any event, I mean, just as an example, I'm going to take this knob off. Check this out. This is a solid, machined piece of aluminum. Look at that. One hunk. I don't know how much that weighs, but it's pretty heavy. And the whole thing is made like that. All aluminum and metal chassis. The cabinetry is all metal. It's got beautiful wood sides. Not all of them come with the sides. I've seen a lot of them missing, but that's the way it usually comes, wood sides. And yeah, these things are awesome. I would make a couple of comments. I guess one would be, and I guess this is pretty common sense advice for anybody, but this particular one, and I showed this in another video, when you touch this control, how it defeats the AFC in order to allow you for finer calibration of the tuning, right? And you can look that up in the other video I posted about the 5500. What you want to avoid, and this is again good advice for anything, but if you have like a carpet on your floor and you walk across the carpet and you go to touch this, the problem with this is, for example, this control, it goes to an integrated circuit that's like a switch chip, right? And so you could fry the chip just with a blast of static electricity. Now, I don't know that that's going to happen for sure every time, but just keep that in mind. You probably, and again, this is advice for anybody that's got carpet in their audio room. Discharge your finger or off on something else before you touch your equipment. Because believe it or not, there could be thousands of volts in a static charge. You wouldn't believe that, but if you look at it, it's low current but high voltage. Static discharge. So keep that in mind. And I would say even more in this case, this is a computer in here. You would definitely not want to blast it with a nasty static charge and then lock up the computer or fry one of the processors in there. So anyway, that's just a little side note. One other thing I've mentioned about the more so the HP 2000 that I've noticed. Yeah, so if you drive this thing into a like 4 ohm load or lower and you really hammer the volume for a long period of time, this unit will get fairly hot. It does have thermal overload protection. When it reaches I don't remember what the number is, but when it reaches a certain temperature, there's a thermal switch that will shut the unit off. Of course, you never want to bring it to that point, because when it gets that hot, that's pretty brutal to do that. Anyway, it doesn't really get hot unless you're really hitting these things hard with a very low load, like 2 ohms or something like that. And by the way, I have driven this into a 2 ohm load, and it does amazingly well. Once in a while, you'll see the clip lights go on, which is normal because you're hitting it. You're driving this thing into a load that it's not really calibrated for. It's really meant for 8 ohms. See that in the meter? Although it'll do fine on a 4 ohm load and sounds amazing, and I've done it, like I said, plenty of times. But other than that, they're pretty much the same as far as features. There's some small differences, and I guess I could point that out. One thing I do love about both of them is that you don't really notice this, but this phono level control is not a button. It's an actual control potentiometer. So you can adjust your phono level to match your other sources in your system. So the 1000 has one dubbing connector for in and out, right? And if we go over to the 2000, it has a microphone input, right? A left and right stereo mic, and a level control for the microphone. And then once again, the level control for the phono. And one of the things that's pretty berserk and awesome about both of these things, they're both for the rest of the features are the same other than this. This unit has 2 headphone jacks, and the 1000 has a single headphone jack. Like, who cares, right? You're only going to use one headphone jack. But I guess back in the day, if you had your girlfriend with you, you give her a pair of headphones and you'd have a pair, and so yeah, one of the things I was going to mention about these, so all of the controls down here, you have a bass, a mid, and a treble control. Both units have that. They're stepped attenuators, or they're stepped, okay? So detented controls, including the volume control. It's detented. It's got steps to it. Another feature that's unique about these is they have variable loudness control. So this control back here is not a balance control. That's the balance control there. This is a variable loudness control. And some stereos have this, more high-end models have it. But this one has variable loudness, which is kind of nice, because when you find your kind of sweet spot for your volume, how you like to listen to things, you can also find the sweet spot for your loudness to make, to get the best sound that you like in your space. The other thing I was going to say is that look at all the inputs you have. You have two phono inputs. Let me get that little dust out of there. 2 phono inputs, which already is pretty berserk, right? Two phonos. Only the high-end stereos would ever have that. A tuner, 2 auxes. 2 tape loops, right? Plus you got 2 tape monitors. Wow. And then a 4-channel adapter, which is really another loop. So essentially three loops that you can have. This one you can actually put like your, if you had an equalizer and you wanted to put that in the loop, you could do that. It of course has the high and low filters, particularly useful for playing vinyl. If you got records that are a little scratchy, you could push the high filter in, and it'll help with some of that. The low filter is for rumble, basically low frequency rumble that you get off a turntable. I love that you can turn the loudness contour off. So you can, just like most stereos will have an on and off switch for loudness, right? This has on and off, but then you have that variable control. So pretty cool. And then you can defeat the tone circuit also, which is another feature I really like. And the muting is really attenuation. They always say muting, but it really means attenuate. It lowers the volume by 20 dB. So that's kind of cool. You get a phone call, and you want to just lower the volume without changing the knob here. That's a cool feature. What else does it have? It has some of the cool, funky features that a lot of stereos had back in the day. The stereo mode adjustment, where you could have mono, reverse stereo, listen to the left only, listen to the right only. And this ARS is an ambience retrieval system, and that's for putting up essentially a pair of rear speakers if you wanted to kind of get sort of a surround effect. It's an interesting thing. I've never really used it. I've tried it just to test it, but I don't really use it. I just listen in 2-channel mode. I put it in speakers A, and that's it, and I'm good to go. But other than that, yeah, I love these things. I absolutely love them, and I'd never get rid of these. But I figured I'd show both of them together. There's the I don't know if you call it entry level, but it's the lower model of the HP series, the tuner and the amplifier. By the way, I love the analog tuner. And then you had the top of the line model, which was the HP 2000 with 120 watts per channel, and the CPU 100 digital tuner, which the LEDs never, the lights never come out right on the on the camera. But my understanding, I did some research, and according to what I found, at least out there on the net, this thing sold for the equivalent of $10,000 in 1977, which I'm pretty sure that's the price of about 2 cars back then. I mean, an average car in the 70s was a couple of $1,000s. You know, $5,000 was typical for a car in the 70s. So this cost as much as or more than a car. And at least that's the information I got. So that's pretty wild. That's probably why there's not many of them around, because they probably didn't sell that many of these because of how costly they are even to make them. I mean, if you look at the other video I posted about the CPU 100, it is cutting edge technology for the mid to late 70s. Essentially has a computer in there, which is insane. It has memory, right? It's got to be able to store presets, memory. It has all this discrete logic that allows you, like, for example, when I tune up the band, the dot moves, right? It might seem stupid and simple now, but that was incredible technology and engineering to do this. I mean, just presets, having presets, or the logic that it takes that when I select that LED lights up, or when I do the auto scan and it lights up, and then that lights up while it's scanning, right? Right? And it'll do that until it finds a station. All that logic is incredible, and it's all done with discrete components. So we're not talking about, software, memory, menu-based systems. This is all hard-coded logic. But it's incredible what Draco was able to achieve. It's mind-blowing. Okay, another example, right? It got all the way to the end of the dial, and it knew that was the end of the dial, and it shot all the way back to the beginning and starting over, right? Until it gets to the next, station. The ability for it to memorize alpha characters, right? Not just numerical, not just the frequency, but the alpha, the station, call station, right? It's incredible. It really is. All that was way, way ahead of its time. And it's one of the things about that tuner that's so mind-blowing. But other than that, I would say if you ever come across any of the HP stuff, give it a try. They sound incredible. They use typical TO3 output transistors, very heavy duty. The heat sinks are pretty well sized. Construction is incredible. What can I say? I've said enough, right? Beautiful pieces. All right, thanks for watching. And yes, I obviously am obsessed with these things. Thank you.